It is potentially going to take me over 5 hours, possibly 6, from start to finish. Past Katrina's prediction was right on the mark. I had not shown this to you before, but I actually created a, we'll call it segment by segment itinerary. I treated each of these line/segments as a separate sprint with start and finish times. Originally, my planned start time was 12:30 p.m. and finish time was 12:40 p.m. But looking back at that, I actually made an error, and it actually should have been 5:50 p.m. I tracked my actuals in the day of event, and I gained some time in some areas, and I had delays in other areas, and had a 26-minute difference between my planned finish time and my actual finish time of 6:16 p.m., completing 13.37 miles in 5 hours and 25 minutes, which my goal was 5.5 hours. Total elapsed time was actually 5 hours and 36 minutes, but I stopped my watch for 11 minutes in the halfway mark when I was changing clothes. And my moving time was 4 hours, 47 minutes, and 58 seconds. I'm gonna come back to that because that's an important metric. My pace from previous trainings were anywhere between 22 to 23 minutes, and I had predicted that it was actually going to be higher than that due to lower temperatures and longer distance. My average minute per mile did end up being 24 minutes and 19 seconds. However, then I noticed in the app that there was an average minute per mile while moving metric. Looking at that metric for previous training days was consistently between 21 and 22 minutes per mile, which is what ended up happening on my day of event of 21 minutes, 33 seconds, which tells me that my average minute per mile while moving metric is a greater predictor of my sustainable pace. Interesting to note about here that when I looked at average minute per mile overall, I had said that the half mile training workout that was in 30-degree weather actually had my longest pace, but when I looked at it while moving, it actually ended up being my quickest pace. I guess the cold so-called lit a fire under me. My stats mile by mile did not include the metric for while moving, but I did look into each one to figure out what was going on when it was quick versus when it was high. And I made notes of when it was high, involving when I was dodging ice on the sidewalk, when I was changing clothes, had to go to the bathroom, or reevaluating my pickup location. Here are my graphs. Top left is pace, bottom left elevation, top right is heart rate, and bottom right is my heart rate zones. And my two things that I notice here is when I did the Peachtree Road Race 10K in July, the elevation was flipped. It was downhill for the first half and uphill for the second half, as well as my half marathon. Because of everything that I did to train, it actually felt easy and I felt really good. And I noticed that I spent 57% of the time in an aerobic heart rate zone. And that was a little bit of a surprise for me. And the things that contributed to my feeling so great was all the preparation that I did ahead of time, and specifically using 1 week sprints to organize my training and review each sprint, plan for the next sprint, iterate on my process or my tools, and then creating my line by line itinerary for the day, treating those as separate sprints, and even creating a sign up genius for friends and family to sign up to help me at each one of those. The whole point of this whole series was to show how Scrum can be utilized to achieve any goal. Based off of how I felt the day of, how smooth it went, as well as reviewing my metrics, I reaffirm that and why I love what I do. If you have a goal in mind and you just don't know how to start or can't visualize where you're going to finish, please call me. Please reach out to me. It is my specialty, and I can help you dive in and create options. I'm Katrina, and I'm the Scrum Mother.